My name is Anna Lovely, and we are here with Melissa Doran to talk a little bit about listening and her experiences, both learning and teaching listening. Okay, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about the beginning. When you started learning your second language, what was it like? What was your class like, the structure, the format?
I started learning Spanish in high school, so it was kind of a traditional high school structure. A mix of English and Spanish, traditional listening activities, grammar drills, that kind of thing.
Okay, and when you said traditional listening activities, what type of activities?
Mostly songs. We had some videos we would watch, do listening comprehension that way, but mostly through song.
Mostly through songs? And how were you prepared for that, to listen to the songs? Or were you just like, here's the song, here you
Normally
go?
we would get vocabulary lists, do some matching activities or fill in the blank with the vocabulary. Other than that, it was kind of just listen to the song and see what you can get out of it.
Okay. And there were no other listening activities throughout the class?
Not too much. We had some speaking practice, so you got a little bit of listening that way, but mostly it was just those kinds of direct listening activities.
Okay. What about instructions? Things like that. Were they in the target language or were they mostly in English?
They were mostly in English. She would either write them in Spanish and then say them in English or give them in English, especially in the first couple of years.
Okay. And you did, what, 5 courses of Spanish?
4.
4 courses. Okay. And obviously you see a difference now from the way you were taught to the way you teach. What are the main differences that you see in respect to listening?
I think in our classroom we do more activities with the listening activity itself. So it's not just teaching the vocab, it's also, doing some pre-listening activities, thinking about what the song could be about, looking at the title. We also do a lot more follow-up activities that I never really was exposed to. So we have, think about what this means, think about how it applies to your own life, think about how it applies to U.S. culture, compare and contrast. So I think students get a lot more out of it because they're forced to think about it in a variety of ways.
Okay. And what are the more common listening activities that you do throughout the class?
In the lower levels especially, there are a variety of activities because we have some songs that I bring in, especially to teach vocabulary, body parts, that kind of thing. We also have dictados on all the exams, so we read a sentence and students have to write out what we're saying. Listening comprehension activities, there are conversations between people that we play for students. There are descriptions of towns that we play and they have to try and figure out what the activities are. So there's a variety of different kinds of listenings instead of just purely songs.
Purely songs, okay. So they're exposed to listening in many multiple ways, many times during the day, during the class period, during the week, during the month. Okay. So if you could just really fast, I think, summarize the main elements that a listening class, a listening peer, or a class with where the main target is listening, what would be the elements that you should have for a class like that?
I think you definitely need to work on the pre-listening activities because without that the students aren't going to know what they're listening for and they're not going to be able to get as much out of it. I think it's also important to do the listening a couple times, so you can't just play it once and expect students to get everything out of it. And then I think you really need to follow up with it to make sure students are understanding it correctly and also getting the message out of it that you want. If you're listening to a song that has a metaphorical meaning and you play it once and all students get is the vocab, then that's not really achieving your goal. So I think the follow-up activities are especially important to making sure that students have understood the words themselves and also what the listening is about.
Okay. Well, that is it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.